Below the thunders of the upper deep, far, far beneath in the abysmal sea, his ancient, dreamless, uninvaded sleep, the Kraken sleepeth, faintest sunlights flee. That's a passage from the famous Alfred Lord Tennyson poem, The Kraken. This piece of oceanic prose dates all the way back to 1830, and the history of the Kraken itself goes back even further. The ocean has always been boundless and full of mysteries, and to this day we have not explored even a fraction of the world's total waters. This lack of solid knowledge concerning the deepest, darkest waters has allowed imaginations to run wild and stories to be shared across the ages. Is the Kraken real? Was he ever alive? Well, today we're not concerning ourselves with those questions. You can check out our previous video on the Kraken to scratch that inquisitive itch. No, instead today we will be looking at a more modern telling of the Kraken tale. Hello fellow friends and philosophers, and welcome back to the most mind-bending channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. I'm your voice in the void, Keegan Hughes, and today we're delving into a question that has plagued seafarers since the 13th century. What if the Kraken was alive today? Before we dive into the meat and bones here, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're looking for more aquatic content. Shall we? For anyone who doesn't know, that clip hails from the 2006 film Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. One of the most effective cinematic incarnations of our fishy friend for sure. The Kraken is so omnipresent in our pop culture, I'm apt to believe that everyone knows about it and nobody needs a quick recap on what this nautical beast is. There are rums named after the beast, there's a cryptocurrency that borrows its name. Like the monolith when it's just beneath your boat, the legacy of the Kraken is inescapable. But, just in case, I'm gonna do a quick rundown, real quick. The Kraken we all know so well today likely originates from a 13th century Norse legend about the hero Orvar-Oddr. Hopefully I said that right. Apparently it used to resemble something more like a crab with long spindly appendages instead of tentacles, but over time the most common iterations transformed into cephalopods. Of course, the lad is large. Nobody seems to agree on how big the Kraken truly is though, and accounts have reported it being as long as 10 ships or up to 1.5 miles. Some legends even claim that sailors would mistake it for an island and try to land on it. Obviously these tales never ended well for the sailors. It's also said to displace so much water when it submerges that whirlpools form, sucking anything floating above down into the depths. You'd also better be careful if you see a bunch of fish or bubbles rising to the surface, because those are sure signs of a surfacing Kraken. Too bad the warning doesn't come any sooner, because if you're seeing fleeing aquatic life, it's already too late for your ship. One might assume that the Kraken has magical powers, but that's actually false. It's just an absolutely monstrous specimen with physical prowess on a whole other level. One special trick it has lets it basically continue on eating forever while expending minimal effort though. A Kraken would eat a lot of fish, yeah? It's not like humans the primary food source for this beast. So it eats a lot of fish and therefore poops out a lot of fish matter. And what likes to eat fish? Other fish. So these fish scramble to nibble up at the muddy mess, and the Kraken has a whole new crowd of fish to mow down upon. Ah, the circle of life. Beautiful, isn't it? Like most other giant squid-type creatures, the Kraken shouldn't have too many reasons to leave the cool expanses of the deep ocean. The lazy lad probably could just chill down there forever and never encounter any humans, but what fun is that? Plus, we already know about it from tales of old. So back to the question at hand. What if it was alive today? Up until very recently, we have had little opportunity to skim the depths of the ocean. So what I'm thinking is that the Kraken would have stayed a legend for ages, surviving and thriving with little to no human intervention. And because it's unlikely to have magical powers, it is to some degree just a giant octopus. And there's probably a way for it to reproduce. There's no way it lives for multiple centuries, so there's gotta be a way for it to have little Kraken babies. Aww. If the Kraken has been living covertly and reproducing, that means that there should be more than one. Krakenneth, Krakennedy, and Krakenifer, the whole fam-damily. They're all just chilling at the bottom of the ocean, feasting on the fishies flocking to their feces. Glamorous, isn't it? Fast forward to today, where we have all sorts of technology to explore the depths. It wouldn't be easy and would likely happen accidentally, but I think someone would stumble across one of the Kraken clan. A monumental discovery for sure. They just found a brand new species. Well, technically an ancient one, but until that point there'd been no solid proof. We would do our best to study this mammoth sea creature and learn a whole lot. It wouldn't be easy though, as Krakens probably want to retain their privacy that they had enjoyed for so many centuries. They would use their cephalopod camouflage powers and attempt to dive deeper than ever before to keep the humans away. But alas, we never give up, do we? At some point, an adept scientist might notice the fish-attracting powers of Kraken excrement. Gross and fishy, yes, but imagine the applications. If humans could find a way to harness this waste, we could fish like never before. All natural, non-destructive fish bait. A miracle. So away we would go, attempting to collect samples and find a way to replicate this stuff. The Krakens would not be happy about this. We're interrupting their feeding process, and well, nobody likes to be bothered while eating. Rest in peace to those underwater adventurers. A hangry Kraken is an especially dangerous Kraken. Eventually, we would come up with exactly what we were looking for. Success! Time to fish using Kraken crap. Another thing humans are particularly adept at is taking things too far, and of course, that's what would happen next. If you thought the oceans were being overfished now, imagine having the power of an extremely powerful bait to lure all the fishies who stayed clear of the nets before. I think it would take about 5 years, and then we would see a rapid decline in aquatic diversity. We would successfully end oceanic biodiversity using Kraken turds. And what will the Kraken eat now? Their foolproof cyclical hunting method has been co-opted. Well, what's the only thing left traveling the ocean then? Humans. And here we are at the radical conclusion. The many Krakens would annihilate fleets of human ships to get a measly morsel of people meat. Of course, the humans would not stand for this and fire back with some high-powered weapons. Torpedoes, hydrogen bombs, maybe nukes if nothing else worked, thus ending the destruction at the tentacles of many Krakens. But now, the ocean is barren, empty, ravaged by high explosives and overfishing. Oh man, I guess it was gonna happen eventually. From here, it would be up to scientists and activists alike to try to repopulate the ocean. The waters wouldn't be too friendly to the new life being introduced at first, thanks to low levels of biodiversity and a high level of particulate matter left from fishing and weapons. I have faith in the ingenuity of humans and the power of scientific process, though. Maybe it would be better if we all turned to stone for a bit after this one. A few millennia could pass and we could start from scratch. Senku fans, sound off in the comments. And that's that. If the Kraken were alive today, we'd probably be unaware for a long time. Legends would remain legendary and skeptics would remain skeptical. However, through sheer luck, we would stumble across one of these big tentacle boys. Then we would study them and discover many interesting things. The most interesting being that their poop is fantastic for industrial fishing. And then we would ruin everything, and then have to figure out where to go from there. So it goes. What did you think? What would happen if the Kraken truly was alive today? Would you eat poop-lured fish? Let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, here are some of your more inquisitive ones from last time. 1,000,000 subs with no videos says, do you not remember Horton Hears a Who? If the Grinch was real, he'd be tiny. You're right. I wasn't considering the Dr. Seuss extended universe lore. I'll do better next time. Border Raider says, if the Grinch was real, I would steal the presents with him, lol. If that's true, I hope you are ready to face all of the consequences the Grinch would face in real life. Unicorn Yunmin says, you should do what if anime characters were real? Anime characters are real. I see dudes running like Naruto all the time. Sonic Extreme asks, is nobody gonna talk about that creepy thumbnail? We're talking about it right now. You're welcome. And Nancy Rose says, I have a good question. Is water made out of something? H2O, baby. 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. Drink up. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.